So I finally closed my first investment deal with the help of the Investor's Edge. It was so easy. Like, I felt like I had a whole team behind me the entire time to help answer questions and guide me along and make sure that I was on my timeline and, also guide me through things that came up unexpectedly. So as far as the financing, it was great. I actually was able to qualify for 100% financing. So I was able to get this entire project done with little out of pocket up front. The process was very easy. I had an amazing project manager. He was phenomenal. My account manager was phenomenal when it came to answering questions on anything. They were always there and available for me. The process was just so easy. Like, I would highly, highly recommend Investor's Edge to anybody that's looking to, jump on in. I can't say step, but jump on in there and start investing and fixing and flipping, which has been a goal of mine for years, but it always came down to the money. Because of course, life is expensive. So they made it very, very easy. They were very upfront about all the fees and everything. They were very upfront with everything. I'm very happy with them and I can't wait. Actually, I'm excited. I can't even say can't wait, but I'm excited for the next deal because I will be doing another one hopefully here in the next month. So I ended up coming across a deal. A friend of mine reached out to me to sell her property. However, it was definitely not market ready and it needed a lot of work. And I've been wanting to flip for a while. So it kind of presented itself. And I said, you know what? This property needs a lot of work, but I could see the finished product. So I talked to her about purchasing it from her. And of course, I had to get the financing and stuff situated. And she was all for it. So that's the way we went. The house was a mess. It was a mess. I ended up thinking that it would take about 9 weeks to turn around. Well, six to 9 weeks to turn around, which actually was a little bit longer, but it was out of my hands on that because, of course, the first thing we had to do was get permits and things like that. But I also had to get blueprints for removing a non-structural wall, which was the first thing that I was not expecting, but each county is different. So we got those done. I got a great team behind me. My GC was amazing. My contractors were amazing. The most enjoyable part about it was putting all the pieces together. Just seeing it all come together was just great for me. I loved every minute of it. I mean, it was a lot of hard work. It was hot standing out there at the house some days watching them hard at work. But I wanted to make sure that everything was right. And we ended up selling it almost before it even hit the market. And actually they were waiting for it to be completely finished. So it was pretty much sold before it hit the market. So that was a huge win. You just have to be patient with with this process, and you have to be open. And that's one of those things I learned throughout this process is patience and just overcoming any challenge that is presented to you and just enjoying the process, which is one of those things I enjoyed the whole process. Like, it was headaches at times, but in the same time, I learned something in each of those moments. So there's not much to say when it came to reselling my investment property because it was almost sold before I was even done with it. I spoke with all the neighbors while the property was being flipped and everything. I got to know the neighbors. I got to know the neighborhood. It was a wonderful neighborhood, established. All the neighbors had been there forever. I had been talking to the old owner who had been talking to neighbors. So we ended up having a buyer before the property was even done. And it was one of the neighborhood people who wanted her best friend to live around the corner. So that worked out for us. We got our asking price. We didn't have to pay any closing costs or anything like that. She just wanted that property and she loved every bit of it, which I was so happy for because we didn't cut any corners. We made sure that the property was, as I say, to my speed, which is basically, I wouldn't sell you anything I wouldn't want myself. So she loved everything about the property. It was very well done, and it showed because it sold before it was done. So how much money was I looking to make on this property? Honestly, I was looking to make about 150,000 off of this property, but our proceeds after closing and all of that ended up being 167,000. Yeah, that was a great deal, and I can't wait to do it again. So yeah, if you are looking to jump in here, there's lots of deals out there. You just have to have an eye and patience and be willing to overcome the challenges and learn a lot about yourself and your working style, and build a great team. And yeah, but I made a lot. It was a great flip.